2 minutes past 7. It is Monday, 12 May, and this is the meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals. We have four sitting members, Bob Wisnia, Cal Watsky, myself, Hank Nussbaum, Sean, and Cindy Gibbons, who is an alternate, is going to sit so that we have 5 people. All right, so the reason we want 5 is because in order to pass, you need 4 positive votes. So we want to make it as likely that you get a full hearing as not, okay? So let's begin. And the first on the hit parade is David E. Scott, 5 Lunar Drive.
You need a pen?
No, I got one. I got all kinds of pens. For the record, my name is John Paul Garcia. I'm a licensed professional engineer and land surveyor, licensed in the practice in the state of Connecticut, principal office at 190 Theodore Road in the town of Bethany. And I'm here representing Mr. Scott in the matter of a small variance for a proposed building that he wants to expand at 5 Lunar Drive. And if any of you are familiar, Lunar Drive is the first right off of Bradley Road. When you come in Bradley Road off of Route 69, you come in, you hang a left, and Lunar Drive is your first right. This building is the second left. What he's asking for is a variance of 3%. Town of Woodbridge has a 30% building coverage. And so what Mr. Scott is trying to do is he is running out of storage space and he wants to put an addition on. When we started the project, you had a number of options. You could either expand in the front, the side, or the rear. And each of those have their own issues. Number one, if you expand in the front, you have to go for a front yard setback variance, a significant front yard setback variance, plus it changes the character of the building. If you go for a side yard variance, again, if we expand on the side, we have to go for a side yard variance, and then we have issues with access to the site. The site accesses off of Lunar Drive with a driveway that comes down the right or the east side. So it was thought that we could do it this way. If we put the proposed building in back, in the corner, we don't have to ask for any variance, and then we ran no setback variances, but then we ran afoul of the building coverage variance. He needs this for storage of his equipment. It's bulky and it takes up a lot of room, so he needs additional storage. So we're trying to maximize, if we're gonna have to go back here and put in an addition, we're trying to put in the largest addition you can fit, which isn't very big because when the building was constructed, they built it with a knockout in the back, in the corner. And so this is the biggest addition you could possibly put. But we now need a variance of 3% for your building coverage. And that's why we're here. We're not looking for side yard variances, front yard variances, anything else. We're just looking for a variance of coverage. It does not change the appearance of the site from any place. You can't see it, but it's the maximum, it makes the maximum use of the available area. And that's basically it. It's a relatively simple low theory, and it allows them to stay in town.
Driveway access,
Is on the right side.
and there's going to be a ramp going
Yes.
into that too.
That's correct. That's correct. It was felt this was the cleanest way because I'd rather not come back in for a 15 or a 20-foot front yard setback or a 10 or a 15-foot side yard setback. Now we don't have to ask for any setback variances. All we have to ask for is a coverage variance. And to be honest with you, most towns especially in the commercial industrial areas, they're running 50, 60, 70% coverage. 30% is kind of on the low side, but that's the material. We're trying to put, the largest we could fit in here is this. It's only 2,500 square feet. It's not a big addition. That's the maximum we could fit in.
So that's a single-story structure?
Yes, sir.
And the kind of equipment that goes in there?
Or I have Mr. Scott with me. You want to explain what we're using it for?
There's a warehouse space.
Identify yourself first. Identify yourself.
Jameson Scott, representing my father, David Scott. It's for a warehouse space. We've been here in town for 35 years. We make ductwork for industrial ventilation.
And ductwork is, you're storing air. Essentially, when you're storing ductwork, you're storing air. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
No, if you know what I mean by ductwork, it's
Yes.
large, yeah.
They go quack, right?
What's that?
They go quack?
Yeah.
That's not, all right. So the only question I would have is, could you make that more compliant and have two levels within that storage space?
It doesn't work now, you start to get, we're gonna follow your height variances.
Okay,
So you're stuck asking for either a height variance
right,
or an area variance, and this is the easier of the two. It doesn't change, you're looking at the building, and all of a sudden you see a 20-foot bump out in the back. So yes, the answer is, yes, we could have made this, to sit that way, but now you gotta go straight up, and now we wanna follow the height. So it's one or the other.
yeah, right, okay.
And this is attached, not detached.
Pardon?
This is
Yes, it's attached, that's correct. That's correct.
One story is probably much more efficient from a use standpoint too, I would think.
Yes.
You know.
That's why I said,
Yeah,
there were a number of options, and every time we ran up against something, this seemed to be the cleanest, easiest, has the least impact, doesn't give a visual, visual change. There's nobody around it per se that would know that this has been in here. But we're stuck because of the shape of the building. If it had been square, we may have been able to go off the back, maybe 15 feet wide, and still stay inside the setback. But that's not what we got to deal with.
So you're not using existing space, the way that it's situated here?
Yeah, there's nothing, we're not using that space anyways. So it's the most efficient use of what we're trying to use.
But a piece of the space is the existing.
Yeah,
footprint?
That notch is existing, you said, right?
yeah, this notch is like this.
Right.
Yeah, that's the idea, is to try to fill in the building as best we could.
Right.
And if we're gonna go back there, you might as well go back there and do it.
Just out of curiosity, if you just filled in the notch and made it direct, yeah, how much?
Now you're at 2%. You're still coming for
No,
a variance for
that-
2%.
right, okay,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, we're stuck either a height variance or an area variance. And if we square it off, you're coming back in for a 2% variance, which doesn't make a lot of sense.
right.
What's the square footage if you did that lot?
The variance is 2,500. That's what we're asking
So
for.
2% would be about 1,500?
Yeah. See, it's a matter of, it's not financial per se, it's a matter of practicality.
So we're, as you know, in ZBA, we're kind of stuck with hardships.
Well, the hardship is we got a building, we're stuck with a building that in order for us to expand it, you either have to ask for a side yard variance, a front yard variance, a height variance, or a coverage variance. And of the four variances, the coverage variance is the least innocuous.
Yeah, right,
A side yard variance, a side yard variance, you're now starting to get closer to your neighbor. So a front yard variance changes the entire appearance, and you're gonna have to ask for a fairly significant one. A rear yard variance is the same thing. You're stuck, and then a height variance. So anytime you turn around, you try to do anything with this building, we're stuck going for something. And so a coverage variance is the least innocuous of all of them. I mean, we're stuck with, we got a building that's got a notch taken out. If it had been square across the back, it would have been a lot easier.
And the business needs the expanded
And the
space.
business needs the
That's
expansion,
the
it wants to take
hardship.
it down.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
You need
He needs the
the
area. You know, I'm not trying to be facetious when I say with ductwork, you're storing air.
That's
No,
right.
You
a
know,
lot of businesses don't need space anymore,
Yes.
that's why this is a little different.
yeah, he wants to stay in town, he needs the space. So if we're gonna do it, we might as well do it to get the maximum.
That's right.
And like I said, we're only asking for a 3% or 3.5%.
Okay, any other questions from the board? Any neighbors who are for or against or don't care? Okay, all right, so, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, so we'll discuss it. That'd be it.
Well, you need a motion to close the hearing.
Okay, so let's have a motion to close.
Second.
Okay, so we'll close this one, and then we'll do number 2 on the hit parade.
And then discuss both,
And we can discuss them all at the end,
yeah.
right?
Okay, good.
Okay, so.
I know.
Okay, so, all right, so Grace Yang Cross and Bruce Cross.
So we're supposed to fill something out here?
You need to write your name in on the sign page.
Smooth lighting.
It's not show.
Maybe it's
Is that button in the front?
I think I'll step back
How
a little
about-
bit to see.
In the front?
There's nobody in the front, but boy, it's working and our part is on.
We know that it works, so no
Yeah, it
panic.
works. Hit enter. Oh, that one. Okay. Slides.
Okay, Grace?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity for joining the meeting. My name is Grace Cross. My husband's name is Bruce Cross. We own the house located at 115 Luciani Road. We're here tonight for seeking relief from zoning department. My husband would like to give a short presentation. He will explain the unique situation. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Bruce Cross. Is it okay if I stand up here just so we're...
Sure,
Go ahead, I just
Take
want
place?
I just want to
And
see
thank-
the slides, that's not.
Yeah, thanks for making this available. We figured that was the easiest way to communicate the situation. And unlike some of the corporate ones I'm in, it's going to be a short presentation. It's not like 30 slides, so it's a handful. Next slide, Brian. So there's just 5 slides and then a few photos. The initial kind of introductory hardship statement, what the hardship is, what our proposal is, and how it's consistent and has minimal impact to the environment, and the justification, and then we'll wrap
Sorry to
up.
interrupt, can you just move back a little bit? No one can see on that. Yeah, just like that.
Ah,
Yeah, thank you.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
okay. Next slide, Brian. So the setbacks in this property, and we'll have a chart that shows it next. On the side, it's 20 feet, and on the rear is 25 feet. The current structure is actually encroaching in that already, and what we're looking to do is put a second floor that follows the exact same footprint of the house today, the rear and the side walls. Next, Brian. So this is a chart from zoning that shows the end of the Luciani, that's the cul-de-sac there. This is obviously the house in question, and that's the next door neighbor's house. Next slide, Brian, we'll have a little bit more detail.
Yeah, that is nice.
Okay. So the blue is the outline of the house, the deck is at the top. That's not something we're concerned with, it's really the footprint of the main house. The yellow line shows the rear setback at 25 feet. So you can see that the current house is already kind of across that. And there's a similar one on this side, the right side here, as well. So the hardship is that the house is already across those borders, and in the back, you'll see a picture a little bit later, there's a steep downward slope. And on the other side, there's a high ridge that goes up. So that's why the house was situated originally where it is. It's really the natural terrain, and that's really what we're trying to work with. So we didn't create the hardship. It's really because of the characteristics of the lot and how the house was placed on it when it was built. Next slide, Brian. So this is a view of the side. You saw the deck on the previous slide, and this is the slope down, right, from the property, just to give a visual perspective to that. And then this is a view from the cul-de-sac, and you're seeing the slope up on the left side. So you can see it's kind of a tight lot, and that's where the house was initially situated, and all we're looking to do is keep the existing footprint, but just expand and add a second floor. So it'll align with the current footprint, only vertical, no horizontal expansion at all. And this is what we feel is the least disruptive and most practical approach, because the alternative would be, if that was the first floor and we're looking to do this, it would have to be something like that, right? So it would be adhering to the rear setback and also on the side. But that's not really a great architectural model, and so we're just looking for keeping the existing lines and just expanding up. So that's really the justification. We just feel it's a modest and reasonable plan, and it's really keeping in harmony with the existing layout, you know, architecturally, and also the surrounding development in the area. Next slide. So we feel it's a legitimate hardship based upon the way the lot and the house is set up today. We think it's a reasonable request we're making. I hope you agree. And also it's going to keep the integrity and the intent of the existing zoning plan. And that's really it. So happy to take any questions or comments.
I also want to share my little conversation with our next door neighbor at 111 Luciani Road, because they are on our right side. It's so close. We're next door neighbor. I shared the plan with him. I said we are going to build second building, second floor. They're saying, "Oh, good. Thank you for sharing with us. We have no problem. We totally understand. I'm happy for you and your family have more comfortable space. No problem with us." So I also heard our next door neighbor across the street, located at 114 Luciani Road, just got approved for building 2-family unit. So I feel like, okay, I hope we can get approved, because we have 2-family can really fit in the neighborhood in the end of Luciani Street. Thank you so much for all your time. Thank you for listening our voices. Thank you.
Question? Anybody?
I have a question in looking at this. Is the average grade around this house 35 feet or higher?
35 feet.
Because it shows 38 feet on one side and 36 feet on another side. Because the building code only allows you a 35-foot average height.
That's exactly when I visit Rob Deline. He told me in person the height from the bottom to the peak is 35 feet. But I believe Andy, as our consulting drawing the plan, have some difference. But I don't have any issue with that. I completely follow the building rule. If you request to build 35, I have no problem,
Or less, right?
or less.
Do you know when the house was originally built?
I guess like over 60 years ago. It's an old house, just fall that way based on the mountain.
I'm just wondering if zoning, Chris, you may know, was a variance granted way back then? Because obviously the setback would still be violated.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't, it needed a variance to get built, I'd have to go back in the original file and look.
No, it's okay, so it existed at that point.
I mean, at this stage of the game, even if it didn't get a variance, it's allowed to exist because it's been.
Yeah, no, I just, right, okay.
And I guess one other thing to note is you are doing a staircase at the back of the building, which expands the footprint a little bit.
For this point, that print is now finalized because we skipped this variance. Later, me and Andy were saying, wow, we need to get approved for a variance, stop the drawing. Let's go through the process. So if we got relief, I definitely want to work with Andy, fix everything we can to make the drawing totally meet the requirement.
But the plan would be to have an external staircase up the back, right?
Yes,
To the
yes.
second, for more
Yes.
So
privacy, right?
there is a
between the two.
small additional footprint other than just going up over the existing house.
If the
footprint.
staircase counts as that, then yes.
It does.
Okay, yeah.
We will work on that.
But is it a question of coverage or is it a question of setback? I mean,
It's
with this-
just a question that I believe it's in that corner that where it showed that it was
Did
in
you
the
go back to the
backyard, but
picture,
it's no
Brian?
further back than where
That
the
one.
deck currently is.
Right.
Okay,
Oh, no further back. I will remind Andy, let him fix it.
okay, any other questions
So
from
the,
the?
to your point, just to clarify in my mind, the second story
As shown on the plans has a
has,
Next slide.
right,
up and down going to the second floor.
it's not on here. So it's not gonna be any farther out than the existing deck.
It does not appear to be any further out than the existing deck, but it is an incursion into that backyard setback.
I don't have a problem with that at all. I'd rather move to the corner, like the side and, the deck is, that's the house, the deck is here. I'd rather move here. We have plenty space.
Right, okay. Great, any other questions from the board? And you mentioned neighbors, I presume there are no neighbors here?
Our neighbor called me saying, Grace,
No,
yeah.
You call her and
Yeah, I called her, she called me, he said, I'm now coming, just to let you know we're totally fine.
Okay,
Right, but we don't have that.
no, we don't
Verbalized
have
here.
it, but we also don't have anyone not, against
He
it,
said-
so be it. Okay, so,
I
any
do-
other questions from the board?
Just a couple points of clarification again in my mind. So, existing house is front yard setback of 15, where 20 is required. So that's an already existing situation. Just like the 14 to the 25 on there. I just want to clarify that. Because we're just going.
Just going up. It's just, there's no change, just, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, any other questions? All right, so we can close.
Thank you
for
so
your
much.
consideration.
So, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, second? Yeah, okay. So let's move on to the first one. Questions from the board, discussion?
I have a question for Chris. Any other past history of anything similar in that area whereby?
Not since I've been here.
You mean on Lunar Drive, we're talking about?
Yeah, because they're in development 2, I think, right?
Correct. Not since I've been here, that I'm aware of.
Okay, any other questions, discussion? All right, so this is for 5 Lunar Drive. Do we have a motion?
Move that we approve the,
I'll second that.
Second, all right, let's have a vote.
Can I have a reason?
What's that?
I need a reason.
the business needs room to expand. And this seems like a reasonable approach to doing.
Least intrusive.
Least
Yeah,
intrusive.
right.
So it meets the hardship guidelines and the
Yeah.
fact that Out of
And
the
these-
4 options that are available for hardship, this would be the least intrusive.
Right.
And allow the business to stay.
Okay, can we have a vote? All in favor of the motion? Okay, passed, that's good.
Thank you very much, and have a pleasant day.
Okay, see you next time, John Paul.
I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thank you.
Okay, appeal number 2. Any discussion on that?
It seems like this is very straightforward because it's a pre-existing variance.
Right,
There's
right,
really
right.
very
right.
little choice in the matter, and they're minimizing the impact.
I think it's a very good idea to expand it without
Right,
further encroachment.
okay. So,
Yeah, just again, not to put Chris on the spot, any other, because we've looked, well, in my past life here, we've looked at other properties in this neighborhood and with expansion, with similar,
It is similar, where we've
Very
expanded to include a second family
floor.
house or 2-family house.
Well,
And
this is not,
I believe there's gonna be an apartment. It wasn't mentioned,
it
but I've
wasn't
heard that.
mentioned, but it's a
Yeah.
second floor and not a second.
There's an apartment upstairs, I believe, too, which is an allowed use. It doesn't require any action by you guys.
Right.
And
But
as
it's-
mentioned, this is in keeping with what's currently being built, or will be built.
Right. And it's in that, we've seen that. in
Yeah.
the neighborhood.
And thankfully, they're coming for a variance unlike another site.
Correct.
Did not.
Correct. I like to put in perspective and
No,
numbers
it's-
because we
and very-
know that neighborhood.
Yeah, yeah,
what
yeah.
they're doing.
yeah, exactly. I was sure that we had voted on another,
Correct. Right.
in the same corner of that.
3 or
Okay.
4 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion, all in favor of,
Wait, who moved?
oh,
We didn't do a
Yeah.
motion.
Oh, we did.
No,
That
that
was
was
the-
before.
oh, okay,
I'll move the motion in the fact that this is a hardship, that there's no, we're keeping within the footprint, we're raising the space, so it is a hardship, there's no other place to really put the additional space but up.
right. Okay, I'll second. Okay, let's have a vote, all in favor? Okay, unanimous. Done.
Thank you so much, thank you for your time.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, good luck with the project.
Good luck with it.
Okay, so do we have approval of the minutes from 4 years ago?
What is October or something? It's a long while, it's true.
Yeah.
Well, according to this, it says from regular meeting of October 15th.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Was I on there?
It could have been. Who knows? Who can remember that far back? All right, so do we have approval of the minutes?
No, you wouldn't.
So moved.
Okay. Do we have a second? All right.
I'm abstaining.
Okay, and all in favor? Yes, all right, so
Yes.
that passed. All right, any other things that we need to do, Chris?
I should just like to thank Dr. Wisnia for his service on this board. This is his last meeting with you.
Yeah.
He will be changing his hat to become a member of the Town Plan and Zoning Commission.
Oh.
So we want to welcome back Cindy and say thank you to Dr. Wisnia.
I think that comes with a bottle of Excedrin.
No,
Okay, so, depending on your point of view. All right, so let's have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, all in favor?
Yeah.
Done. Okay, it's 7:30, and we are done.
Yeah, when I
Regular member?
I was like, what is